Hey, it's Dave Brown here, host of Now with Dave Brown on AMI. Check out this latest highlight from the show.
It's going to be an eventful year in the world of parasport. The Pan Am Games are going down next month in Santiago, Chile, and the Paralympics are set for next summer in Paris, France. Alex Smyth is gearing up. He's meeting with all sorts of high-performance athletes as they prepare to represent Canada. Hello, Alex.
Hello, Dave. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. This continues a series of conversations that you collected at the Level Playing Field event last week in Toronto. And one of the athletes that you've given a couple shout-outs to here is Marissa Papaconstantinou. Why should people keep her on their radar?
Well, Marissa just has such a fascinating story. She is still a relatively young athlete, all things considered, but her athletic career already has been filled with highs and lows. She's suffered major setbacks from injuries to disqualification at a Paralympic Games to getting through those challenges, those hurdles, building that resilience, and then setting personal bests at Tokyo, coming away with a bronze medal there, and then recently coming again with a bronze medal at the 2023 World Para Athletics World Championships. So there's the struggles and the triumphs in her story. And then if that's not enough for you, she's also the first Paralympic female athlete to be sponsored by Nike, Dave. So
nice.
There's a lot of just reasons to really want to cheer her on and support her. And she's going to be someone who's going to be a name that you will hear more and more, I think, as the year goes on and as we head on to the next Paralympic cycle as well, because, as I say, she's still quite young and she's really setting a strong impression in her sport so far.
All right, well, let's jump into the interview that you conducted. Let's hear what Marissa has to say.
Marissa, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, so you have been someone who's really dealt with a lot of highs and lows in your career so far, especially early on. There was a lot of lows. How did those kind of bouts of adversity, how did that help kind of build resilience for you as you continue to train and start to see some of the success you worked so hard for?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there were definitely a lot of early on challenges, a lot of injuries, disqualifications. But, you know, I think a lot of these things, I talk about them as skills that I've added to my toolbox. And these skills are essentially just how I can deal and cope with challenges, because they're inevitable. They happen. As an athlete, as a person in general, just going through life, there are always going to be obstacles. There are always going to be challenges. And going through those things at such a young age, firstly, really helped mature me in the sport and kind of help shape the athlete that I am today. But also, you know, gave me the ability to deal with things head on and manage them to the best of my ability. It was not easy, and it was not something that, you know, I dealt with on my own. I was so lucky to have such a great community around me, my parents, my coaches, my teammates, everyone just pushing to really make sure that I was able to get through those hard times. But I don't take back, or I don't regret anything that kind of like took place over the years, because again, they've led me to where I am today. And I think without those, I don't know if I would have been able to maybe kind of push through some of the experiences that I have today.
Marissa, you mentioned your team that you really had around you. Can you tell me a bit more about the importance of having a strong team that you can really count on in those moments of need?
Yeah, I mean, everyone says, you know, track's an individual sport. You're out there by yourself, which is true in so many ways, but a lot of the work that happens in the background on a regular basis is done by such a large team, from, you know, my coaches, my strength and conditioning, physio, chiro, nutrition, biomech, like prosthetists. There's just so many people that are involved in my success and in my journey that, you know, I wouldn't be able to achieve all these things if I didn't have this really amazing support. Oh, and of course mental performance as well, because, you know, you have to be a little crazy to do track and field. But yeah, like it's really helped get me to where I am today. It's, again, these people have also helped shape me into the athlete I am, especially starting out so young, and knowing that I had a very long career ahead of me. I've had a very good support system to make sure that I wasn't burnt out too early, that I was, doing all the necessary things to make sure that I had, a very long lifespan in this sport, and to make sure that I made it to the LA 28 games, and that's the plan for the future. But yeah, I'm so grateful to all the people around me. And again, I can't emphasize enough that, track is also a team sport at the end of the day too.
And so how is the training going right now?
Yeah, I mean, so yesterday was my first back in base season for the 2024 season, which is kind of crazy because I had a little bit of a up and down summer with just like my time off. I competed at World Championships, I competed at Nationals, I came home from Nationals, I had a couple weeks off, and then I got a call to compete at the Diamond League in Eugene, Oregon for the final, which, was a very new thing for my classification. So we were very excited to have that opportunity. So I wasn't in great racing shape for it, but, I've had some time off, but I feel like overall I haven't really stopped all that much. So to be back into it, is a little weird right now, but it's also very exciting because I know the year that's coming up, and I'm going into the season stronger than I ever have before. So I think, building off of those moments from this past summer and bringing them into next season and taking all those experiences with me moving forward and just continuing to hone my craft and be that best version of myself on and off the track, I think is what's going to propel me into the Paralympic season next year. And it's going to be busy. It's going to come hot and heavy, but I'm really excited. Well,
and you mentioned about the success that you've started to have. You set personal best in Tokyo. You then followed up with the bronze medal at the the World Para Championships. How do you maintain that momentum and build on it as you make your way into this 2024 season?
It's a very good question. So I think this past summer, I definitely struggled a little bit with the idea of going into a championship as a medalist. That was new territory for me because Tokyo was my very first experience as a medalist. But I think, working with my sports psych and kind of figuring out, okay, how do we approach this championships? I really had to be okay with the fact that I might never medal ever again. And it's a very weird combination because being okay with that, but also doing everything you can in your power to try and achieve that goal again. So it's a very tricky, contradicting thing to kind of grapple with. But I think, once I was able to get that and kind of let go of that pressure and that stress, I just go out there and have fun and honestly just live my best life on the track, because at the end of the day, I do this because it's fun, and I have to remind myself that all the time. So I think going into next year, I just have to keep carrying that same energy and reminding myself of those little tools that have gotten me to where I am. And, there will be tough moments along the way. It's inevitable. Like I said before, challenges always come up, but I'm ready for them. And just keeping that same energy. And again, I have such great people around me to kind of remind me of when I maybe get in a little spiral or things don't go my way, or whenever challenges come up. So yeah, just using that combination of my team and the mindset that I've developed over time.
Now, you mentioned that you're just getting back into the season now. When it is the off season, do you like to pick up or engage in other sports beyond just running, or is running just a sole focus for you?
So I really did want to actually try some different sports this last summer, but just because we got invited to Eugene, I didn't really have a lot of downtime. And then when I did actually have 2 weeks off, I just wanted to chill and do nothing, because I knew, again, once we got back into it, it was going to be, Monday to Saturday, every single day, solid throughout the week. So I actually do love doing Pilates, though. That is something I like to do on the side. It's really good for, general strength. As a track athlete, you're really strong in the big muscle groups, like squats and cleans and deadlifts and all these things. But those little tiny muscles, it's good to work on those. So that's why I really like to do Pilates as well.
And lastly, before I let you go, you are a media student. Is it a bit strange now to go from, maybe a bit more behind the camera in the production of it to now being the face and profiled in an episode of Level Playing Field?
Yeah, I mean, I did stuff like this in school, and it was phenomenal experience, and I'm so glad to have had my 5 years at TMU in the sports media program, because I really did get such a overall good understanding of media production, sport business, everything. And I love it because I can take it with me in my current life as an athlete, and of course, hopefully in the future one day as in a career in broadcast one day.
Marissa, thank you so much for your time, and best of luck.
Thank you so much.
So, Alex, you had the chance to talk to Marissa. She was also featured in the first episode of Level Playing Field. You can find that on AMI Plus if you haven't caught it already. What was something you learned about Marissa or her sport that surprised you?
Well, the thing that I found very interesting is, for the most part, Marissa is training with a mixed group of runners. So there's able-bodied athletes, there's herself who has a lower limb loss, and they're all training together in that same environment, and they're still able to push each other and still build that kind of drive in that high performance environment that she can then take it to the different competitions around the world. The thing I've learned through the years of covering sprinting and running particularly, it's a very slow and minimal gain sport. So you're not going to see massive jumps in a short period of time. It's going to be maybe half a second here that you can build on, or maybe it's a second you can gain over the course of a year, which sounds like minuscule, but that can make all the difference, especially if you're running short distance track, like 100, 200 meters.
Yeah.
Like a second, half a second could make the difference between medaling or missing the podium entirely. So the fact she's able to do that and have that environment around her, that it's this mixed group that are all training together, and it's leading to her success, was very interesting to learn from.
It's so funny because I always call that skill versus will. And in some sports, the precision is so important that you've got to do both, right? There's certain endurance sports like marathon running, like, yes, your running gait matters, but at the end of the day, if you don't put the miles in and don't put the hours in, you're not going to get results. But something like sprinting or short distance running, that little twitch of a muscle, where you put your heel, where you put the ball of your foot, Alex, it's wild what a difference it can make, the skill versus will.
Absolutely. And something that comes out in her story is how she had to kind of build that understanding with her coach, because her coach hadn't coached a athlete who uses a blade to run. And so it's the understanding of the physiology of, okay, well, you're going to be off center. Your muscles are going to be in balance every single moment that you're running because of the nature of having a limb loss and having a blade opposed to another foot that you're using for your muscles. So it's trying to figure out, okay, how is your body reacting in a way that is appropriate for you, not just how it should be for overall. And it's really taking that individualized approach.
Do you want to dive into more conversations like this? Watch Now with Dave Brown weekdays at 9 a.m. Eastern on AMI-TV or download the podcasts wherever you listen. Do you want to dive into more conversations like this? Watch Now with Dave Brown weekdays at 9 a.m. Eastern on AMI-TV or download the podcasts wherever you listen.